Dear 2016, you started out as such a bright beacon of hope, a shining star of possibility. Actually, scratch that. On January 1st, an estimated 22 Black people became the first of the many victims of police brutality in America this year. At least Leonardo DiCaprio finally got an Oscar, even if it did mean the fall of one of the oldest memes in recent history. Oh yeah, and who could forget the losses that foreboded of many more celebrity deaths to come. Thanks a lot, 2016, for killing off David Bowie and Alan Rickman. I mean, yes, it is true that the Goblin King's costume in Labyrinth scarred me, and I'm sure many others, for life. But that wasn't a direct invitation for you to kill him just 2 days after the release of his new album on January 8th. And you do know that it really was Malfoy, not Snape, who disarmed Dumbledore of the Elder Wand, right? Though please do not take that as an invitation to murder Tom Hiddleston next. So January was kind of a bust, but we'll just say it was a practice run. Well, for 2016, it was more like a warning of the more awful things to come. February seemed somewhat optimistic at first, with Bernie Sanders announcing his run for presidency. Poor Bernie, the old man from New York who just wanted everyone to have free college. Who could hate him? Even birds flocked to him. Of course, 2016 had to take that away from us as well. But remember when we laughed at the thought of the Donald being the Republican nominee? Remember when we still had hope for this country? And Ted Cruz being the Zodiac Killer was the funniest meme at the time? But hey. At least we unworthy peasants had formation bestowed upon us by the Queen Bey herself. I don't think anyone, except maybe Rachel Ray, could complain about that. March was pretty uneventful, actually. I mean, besides the death of To Kill a Mockingbird author Harper Lee and ex-First Lady Nancy Reagan. But did anyone really care or know about that? So you know what? I'm chalking March off as a pretty good month, in 2016 terms at least. Oh, the times we took for granted. Actually, March was the dormant period that 2016 took to prepare for one of the worst deaths of all. Prince, who died on April 21st at age 57. It turns out that 2016 really hated any celebrity who challenged society's views of masculinity. So not only was 2016 bad, terrible, disastrous, it was also homophobic. But May takes the cake for being one of the most awful months of all. Unless, of course, you're one of the people whose Tumblr, Twitter, or Instagram followers dramatically increased from the massive memes about the killing of Harambe, a gorilla who became the embodiment of all things wrong with 2016. Especially if you were the 3-year-old boy who climbed into his cage at the Cincinnati Zoo in Ohio. Somehow, as if things could get any worse, it became official on May 3rd that our Republican nominee was to be Donald Trump.
For the presidency of the United States.
Remember 3 months ago when that seemed hilariously impossible? Well, the only one who's laughing now is the misogynistic
Putting a wife to work is a very dangerous thing.
reincarnation of Annoying Orange himself. In June, we lost the greatest boxer to ever live. On the 6th, Muhammad Ali died, along with all of our hopes and dreams of ending 2016's reign of terror early. On that same day, Hillary Clinton became America's first female major party nominee. But as we now know, that last class feeling was destined to remain ever unbroken. The Voice singer Christina Grimmie was shot and killed on June 10th, and on the 12th, America bore witness to its worst mass shooting in history, as 49 people were killed at a gay nightclub in Orlando, Florida. This started a series of terrorist shootings and violence, including the 45 killed and 230 injured at Ataturk Airport in Istanbul, Turkey. Of course, nobody changed their Facebook icons for that, because as we all know, mass death is only ever relevant if it happens in a first world country. Speaking of death, which is 2016's favorite method of torture, on July 5th we lost Alton Sterling, a black man selling CDs in Baton Rouge who was yet another victim of police brutality. His death was followed quickly by the killing of Philando Castile, just 2 days after. As if that wasn't enough, a truck smashed into a crowd in Nice, France on July 14th. Once again crushing our aspirations about having just a small break from this unending hell of a year. In August, school starting became the least of our problems when 2016 took Gene Wilder, iconic face of Willy Wonka, from us on the 29th. Looks like he had a golden ticket out of here. And, like an omen of what the year's end would be like, Samsung Galaxy Note 7s began exploding everywhere. In September, lots of crap concerning South Carolina's HB2, more commonly known as the bathroom bills, went down. The argument for not allowing transgender people to use the freaking bathroom being that it opened the door to perverts spying on little girls. Please, tell me more about how you believe that women shouldn't be in power because they're too emotional, but men not being able to control themselves is a perfectly fine and accepted trait of a world leader. September was also the month that every white kid and their dog thought they could dance after the release of Juju on That Beat. Recording this moonwalk and dabful dance became much easier with the release of the iPhone 7, which like this entire year left much to be desired in terms of music. In October, everyone tried their best to ward off 2016 with the good old "if you don't move, it won't see you" method, which really got our hopes up with the leak of the iconic Donald Trump video that got newscasters everywhere scrambling to find another way to say this, unsurprisingly, considering the other things that have been let slide, was not enough to persuade the Republicans of Trump's inadequacy. But come on, was it really necessary to let the FBI look into Clinton's email scandals again? Hasn't that poor woman been through enough? Of course not, as it was in November that 2016 dealt us a truly debilitating blow that will fill us with regret for the next 4 years. That a capable, experienced,
nasty woman
loss to a Cheeto with hair was the ultimate doom that 2016 wrought upon us. Even the Donald himself couldn't believe it, which prompted our resident tree hugger, Jill Stein, to come out of hiding and try to save us from this mess. Before that too failed. Hey, don't feel bad, Jill. At least you weren't high throughout the election like some certain third-party nominee.
And what is Aleppo?
Even the controversial death of Cuban dictator Fidel Castro could not overshadow the election results, though it did prompt some good old street partying. Oh yeah, and the whiteys still won't let the Standing Rock Sioux tribe have their land. Hey Americans, nobody asked you for a throwback Thursday on what your homeboy Columbus did back in 1492. With 1 month left to wreak havoc upon the rest of humanity, 2016 let loose, killing pop icon George Michael, actress Carrie Fisher, and her mother Debbie Reynolds, one after another. Obviously, spoiler alert, Han Solo dying in The Force Awakens was not enough, so 2016 had to murder Princess Leia as well. The Force was not with Chewbacca this year, and after this, it can be said that none of us will be singing in the rain anytime soon. So, 2016, are you happy? Countless celebrity icons dead. A country now run by a man who's the human equivalent of a troll doll, plus several massacres to boot. This year was supposed to be one filled with many firsts and new beginnings, but now it's starting to turn out like Earth before somebody majorly screws up and brings the entire world into the apocalypse. Standing now at the precipice of a new year, we can only hope that things will somehow turn themselves around, instead of, actually being the apocalypse. Goodbye 2016, I don't know a person on this earth who isn't happy to finally see you die. Well, except maybe Donald Trump. He's probably pretty happy. Screw you, Drumpf. But mostly, screw 2016.